Hi, this is Mike Webb Reed again, and I just wanted to tell you I'm a school teacher and I teach English. Do you believe it? The creative writing was always one of my favorite subjects, so I want to talk about creative writing. Well, stories are told through fact that is sometimes manipulated to protect the innocent and to cause the guilty to surrender certain values that injure the innocent. So, in order to tell a story, you have to explain to me who your story is about, what your story is about, where your story takes place, why you're telling me this story, when did the story happen, and how did it happen. So we begin stories with the beginning. And if you've ever picked up a book, you know that there is a summary in that book. It's usually on the back of the book. And that gives us one paragraph, which is traditionally an introductory sentence that sums up the book, followed by two supporting sentences, followed by a definition of your introductory sentence, followed by two more sentences that describe that, followed by a closing sentence and one sentence that supports that. That's 8 sentences. And that's called a paragraph. And it doesn't always have to be 8 sentences, but probably should until you get really good at it. And the elements of a story are you have to give a time that your story took place, a place that your story took place at. You have to introduce all of your characters. You have to tell me again what your story is about, and you have to make it last, because I like to read. You have to, in the course of that storytelling, you have to make it exciting. So, in order to make it exciting, you have to give me a little bit of information about something really exciting that's going on in your story. Because I like to read stories, because when I have a few dollars, I'd like to give really good storytellers something for their trouble. Because that's what sharing is all about. You help me and I'll help you. And if you ain't got nothing and you're honest, well, that's a big help. So I give you something if I got it. So we left off, that's called the plot. Right? The plot. That's like when you die, they put you in a burial plot. Right? Well, that's the story. You ever hear the same story over and over again? It's like revisiting the grave. Because most stories you hear them the first time, wow, that was amazing. And then you hear it the second time, it's like, wow, well, that's kind of scary. Most stories, anyway. So anyway, so we got time, place, setting, characters. I think I left setting up, but it basically goes in. I give you the rundown. It's a list, and then I go back to describe. We left off the plot, so we're gonna start the beginning again. Time, place, setting, characters, story, plot, climax, anticlimax, time, place, setting. I have to do this again. This is how story writing is done. Time, place, setting, story, plot, anticlimax, climax, and the finish. Now, there are some other interesting parts. You say, what's an anticlimax? When you're telling the story and you're getting to that story part, well, you delay it. You say, well, you know, Johnny over here was doing this. Mary was over here doing that. And I want to hear about Tommy, so you're telling me about it. But don't, don't get me on somebody over there and then cause me to forget about the main character because I'll be mad and I want my money back. So we gotta stay on topic. We gotta stay with it, or else I'm gonna think something's up, and I'm gonna think that your story isn't really real in your own mind. You're not trying to protect anyone, not even yourself. You're a suicide terrorist. I don't like suicide terrorists. I want to tie them up. You know what I mean? Stick them in the pig pen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll give you a quick story that I'm gonna make up right now that incorporates all of that. It was the year 1872, and we were in Cleveland, Ohio, and we were at a bar. There was Johnny, Mary, Tommy, Louise, and myself. And we were just visiting that town. Had got there last Tuesday, and it was kind of slow up there in that top floor of that bar. And that night we heard music, so we come down to visit, and there was the piano player playing our favorite song. And there was a bunch of men all over the place. And as soon as we got down, we started slow dancing. They broke out some cars and they started dealing. And we was like, oh, well, this is awesome. Wow, we in a Wild West saloon. Right? That's when I pulled my hat down tight. Because there's some gambling going on now. Well, that dealer over there, he kept eyeballing my lady. I didn't say nothing, you know, because, well, I like to dance. So does my lady. And anyhow, the night was gone. I was holding her close and pushing her away, and holding her close and pushing her away, just like, you know, that baby making activity. So we had to close on, right? That's what later. And well, Mary, one of our party, she said, "What the hell are you looking at?" To one of the poker players in the bar, and he got a little spit while I put it in a straw, and it hit Mary right in the head. And I said, "Wow, Mary, that was pretty funny." And she said, "You son of a bitch," to the guy that spit the spit water. And she went over and jumped on top of him. Well, her husband Tommy didn't like that. Because that guy started laughing and letting out a whoop, like, whoop. That's how you get laid. So we all ran over and started kicking him in his head. Well, shit, that poker dealer jumped up and drew his pistol, and I threw my hat at him. And well, I got such a big head, it covered his whole entire face. And then we ran over and started kicking him in the head. You like my hat? It is a video story. Anyway. Anyway, where was I? We was in Cleveland, and it was 1872. And anyway, I started hearing sounds. I said, "What they stole my invention." And then walked the sheriff in a Superman's costume. And I said, "You're a woman, and that's touching a vagina underneath there. I'm sure of it." And anyway, my girl smacked me. And, I got an erection. Well, I was in loose fitting jeans, and my penis was hanging down my leg when I got the erection. So you know how that went, right? I was wearing boxer shorts, you know. And well, I'm actually a minister's guy, so if I had to play it off, Coast the sheriff in the Superman costume. Yeah, she liked to keep me undercover for a real long time. Anyhow, that's how you tell a story, right? Um, they wrote us. They wrote us a ticket. The sheriff wrote us a ticket. They said, "Y'all stop by the bank and pay it off." And we said, "Okay." And we left quiet. So that's my story. Anyway, this thing's messing up. This computer here. So I gotta stop telling my story. So anyway, y'all have a real nice day, okay? I got some other work to do.